Two campers, 2 nights by the water. The first at Lake Tahoe, the second deep in the Appalachians. Both should have been normal until sound itself turned against us. At Tahoe, the lake was glass at midnight. No wind, no ripples, just our small fire and a beat-up portable radio we'd brought for background noise. Out here, there shouldn't have been any stations, just static. But at 12:11, a voice bled through. A man counting, slow, mechanical. 1, 2, 3. Then silence, like the signal died. My buddy smacked the side of the radio. It hissed alive again, but the voice continued where it left off. 5, 6. There was no 4. My chest locked. We scanned the dial, nothing but dead air. Yet when we returned to the same spot, the voice was waiting. And the strangest part? The tuner display glitched. It leapt from 103.3 to 103.5. 103.4 didn't exist. My buddy chuckled nervously. Probably just broken. But when I switched it off, the voice kept going. Clearer, louder, as if the radio itself had become unnecessary. At 12:30, our fire sputtered out on its own, leaving only the glow of the radio. Pale light leaked from the speaker grill, painting the rocks a sickly white. The voice cracked on the next word. 7, 8, pause, 10. The missing number hollowed the air. I pulled out my phone to record. The waveform spiked on screen, but when I scrubbed frame by frame, it jumped from 6 to 8. No trace of 7. It was simply erased. My buddy muttered, "What if it's not skipping? What if something's taking it?" His face glowed ghostly in the radio's light, eyes wide, skin damp with cold sweat. I wanted to laugh it off, but the woods felt heavier with every second. The silence between numbers pressed harder than the counting itself. By 12:45 a.m., the glow from the radio painted the whole lakeshore. The moon barely touched the water, its reflection drowned beneath a layer of static shimmer. My buddy whispered, "It's not a station, it's a loop." I twisted the dial down to 0. The voice didn't stop. 11, 12. When it reached 12, the dead fire sparked alive for half a second, then collapsed again. The speaker hissed with a sharp inhale, almost like broken teeth grinding. I checked my phone recorder. At 12:57, the timer jumped straight from 12:57 to 12:59. A full minute vanished, yet the counting didn't falter, steady, unstoppable. Then we saw it. Across the fogged surface, another faint glow pulsed in rhythm with ours. It looked like a second radio, twin to the one in my hand. But there were no other campsites, no boats, no people. Just a light floating in mist. My buddy shouted across the lake. The counting answered back. Not delayed like an echo, perfectly aligned, but always one digit ahead. 13, 14, 16. He wanted to pack up. I wanted to run. But the trail behind us felt wrong, stretching longer than before. I yanked the batteries from the radio, my hands shaking. The glow didn't die. The voice grew louder, closer. At 1:10, the fog thickened until the shoreline disappeared. The counting pressed against my ears, vibrating in my chest. I replayed the recording, desperate for proof. The screen stuttered once more, skipping past numbers that should have been safe. The last thing it captured was a whisper of 22. Then silence. No static, no fire, no voice, just dead air. When I looked up, our radio was gone, and the shore was empty. That file still sits on my phone. Nobody believes me when I play it back. But the cutoff is always the same, right after 21. And sometimes, if I listen long enough, the silence feels like it's waiting for me. We camped at Big Meadows in Shenandoah National Park, planning a quick night hike and a calm return. The ridge carried a thin mist, and the trees leaned in like they were listening. Our headlamps cut pale wedges through the dark. The trail markers were easy, white blazes, steady rhythm. My buddy clipped a step counter to his pack. I set my phone to record. At 12:31 a.m., gravel crunched under boots, breath even, pace clean. Then the counting began behind us. Not our voices, not an echo. A calm, close whisper, 15, 16. We froze and turned, nothing there. When we moved again, the voice kept time with our strides. At the next blaze, I checked my phone screen. The timer ticked smooth. The recorder bars rose and fell. But when the whisper should have said 17, the waveform pinched flat. It cut straight to 18. My buddy muttered, "Glitch." His step counter showed 1,616, 1,618, 1,617 didn't appear. He reset the device. The number still refused to exist. We kept walking. The blazes thinned and the mist thickened. Somewhere downslope, a creek whispered against stones. The counting followed, patient and close, skipping the same number every time. At 1:04, we reached a small wooden footbridge. The planks answered our steps with hollow knocks. The whisper matched them, 16, 18, like the missing word had been swallowed by the creek. I aimed my light through the rail, and the beam broke on moving fog. We tested it with our own voices. 16, I said, and waited. The reply came from below the bridge. 18. My buddy whispered, 17, forcing it, daring the night to keep the hole open. The woods pressed tighter. Something shifted under the bridge, water bulging around a shape that wasn't there. My chest locked, my tongue tasted iron. The recorder captured our breathing, and by 1:20 a.m., the return trail stretched longer than before. Every curve felt new, like we'd never walked it. The blazes on the trees blinked out behind us, swallowed in fog. The counting never faltered. Each step we took, the voice took one more. 15, 16, 18. The hole between numbers gnawed at my ears. My buddy muttered, "What if it isn't skipping? What if something's keeping it?" At 1:34, his step counter jumped again. 1,634, straight to 1,636. The missing digit glared brighter than all the rest. He hurled it into the brush, but the voice carried on undisturbed. 17 refused to live. The forest floor softened. Mud clung to our boots, though the ridge had been dry all week. We heard water close and rushing, where no map showed a stream. The whisper seemed to come from that current, flowing under the soil. My buddy pulled the recorder back out. The screen jittered, numbers shuffling in static bursts. We hit playback. Beneath our own voices, a second cadence pushed through, like bare feet pacing us, half a beat slow. At 1:50, the trail narrowed to a corridor of oaks. Mist pooled waist-high, and the voice pressed closer, no longer behind but between us. My buddy snapped, "Run!" We bolted, the ground hammering in time with that impossible count. My breath tore ragged as branches clawed my sleeves. I risked a glance back. Nothing visible, only two sets of footsteps in mud. Ours, and another pair heavier, dragging, erasing the middle number each time. The campground lights never appeared. Instead, the footbridge loomed again, the same warped planks waiting. We hadn't turned. The trail had folded. The counting paused, hanging silent over the creek. Then, clear as breath in my ear, 17. The word finally arrived, but it didn't sound finished. It sounded claimed. My buddy staggered.